The author says, throwing things around. You know what happens? Sometimes the wife is upset because of something. Now, rather than speaking about that problem, you know what she does? She starts banging the plates and the pots, and she starts throwing things on the side, and she starts beating up the children just to vent her frustrations. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us. This is all unacceptable. Unacceptable in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when you are banging the plates, when you are throwing things around, when you are beating up the children just to prove a point to your husband, ask yourself, do you think Allah is happy with you? Do you think the blessings are going to be descending upon you? Or do you think otherwise? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the ability to understand. The author says they are acts of shamelessness and stupidity that result in the anger of Allah Almighty and can destroy an otherwise good home. If the husband maintains silence for some reason, it does not indicate that the wife may continue. For one day his patience will wear out. That's also a very important point. Sometimes you have a husband who says, you know what, I just keep quiet. I can't say anything. What do you want me to say? Obviously, because he is thinking, look, the situation is so bad. If I am going to talk, it's going to make it worse. So let me just be silent. Make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if we have a husband who's actually remaining silent when we are doing all these things, it does not mean now we've got the green light to do more. Let's think of what Allah wants. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not want us to do this, so we must abstain from it. The author continues to say, this can have unexpected results which will be regretted. Thus, one must always consider the reaction of one's behavior, one's speech and utterances in advance. I remember mentioning in the tafsir program that sometimes what women do, and it's unfortunate, this is on the increase today, every small thing, the woman says, you know what, give me my talaq, give me my divorce. I want a divorce. And every small thing, this is happening nowadays. This is un-Islamic. This is not correct. It will earn the anger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What do we expect? You are married. You have a husband. Do you think you are definitely going to go into another home which will be better for you? You might end up going into another home and then you will regret and say, you know what, I should have never done all this. This is what we are speaking about. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala teaches us, make the most of the situation you are in. Don't compare yourselves with others. This is the problem. Sometimes what happens, a woman begins to compare and she says, you know, that marriage, that other couple, they're getting on like a house on fire. Subhanallah. How do you know? That is what they are showing you. Maybe within they are not getting on. Maybe they have problems that are bigger than yours, but they are covering them up. And maybe they are looking at you and saying the same thing about you, not realizing that you are looking at them at the same time. So don't compare your marriage with someone else. Don't ever do that. That will result in destruction. You need to look at the goodness you have and make your marriage work, no matter what happens. Make it work. And remember, to make a marriage work, you actually need to be harsh upon yourself sometimes. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the ability to solve our problems and to actually maintain ourselves and to actually handle ourselves in an appropriate manner at all times. The author continues to say, the husband's family and relatives must be treated well, and she must try to fit into the family rather than coming in and making everything change overnight for her sake. Though the wife is entitled to a certain degree of privacy, she must understand that whenever there are a few women who get together and several children, then not everything will be done according to one's desire and liking. There will have to be certain differences and certain things that one will disagree with totally. It is advised to bear patience and exercise tolerance. Employ the most affectionate, effective ways of putting forward our views and points. This does not have to be done immediately, but over a period of time, using tact and intellect. It is easier to maintain a good relationship than to mend a broken one. Subhanallah. Listen to that again. It is easier to maintain a good relationship than to mend a broken one. Remember, to keep nagging at the husband about how his family members are can irritate him and disturb the harmony of the home. This is a very, very important point. What the author is saying is, look, as a wife, you are coming into a certain home. You are going to marry into that home. Yes, you might have your privacy. You might even be staying separately. But when you come together, there will be certain differences. Never mind. Bear patience. Try and tolerate it. Solve and patch as much as you can and live with it. You have your privacy, everything. Do not take your husband away from his own blood relatives. How do you think Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will treat you if you do that? Some women come into the home and they tell the husband, I don't want you to have anything to do with your family. And the same is happening on the other side. And they have no valid reason to say that, no valid reason to do that. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us. We should not be doing this. We should be women, meaning I'm talking to the wives here. The wives should be women who actually bring their husbands closer to their homes and to their families, to their mothers and fathers. Subhanallah. If you are going to do that, do you not think that dua will be coming out for you from the hearts of these parents? Do you not think that people will be making dua for you? On the other hand, if you are going to drift him totally away from the house, once you came in, everyone else was divorced. What happens? Do you think that these people will be pleased with you? Someone somewhere down the line might make a dua against you. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us all from such bad and evil duas. But sometimes it comes out of the heart. When people have been hurt a little bit too much, they might just make a little dua from their hearts, and that might result in your failure. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not do that to us. The author continues to say it is incorrect for her to create a distance. Oh, this is the point we were mentioning just now. The author is actually saying it. It is incorrect for her to create a distance between her husband and his family, or cause hatred and ill feeling between them. A good wife will go out of her way to make sure that her husband has a good relation with his parents, his brothers, his sisters and family members. This is a great act of worship and requires a lot of patience and tolerance, coupled with intellect and wisdom. The next point, he says, she should only leave the home after seeking the permission of her husband, no matter where she is going, whether to relatives or to strangers. This will increase the trust and enhance the harmony. Now someone might say, no, why do I have to ask him? Well, the reason why you have to ask him, firstly, he's your husband, you married him. Does your husband come first, or do your friends come first? If your friends come first, then why did you marry your husband? And if your husband comes first, then you can ask him that, look, I want to go here, can I go there? And if he actually says yes and you obey it, and the day he says no, you obey it, tell me how you feel after that. Subhanallah. Tell me what it has done to your marriage. It will probably enhance the trust between you, and he will learn to love you even further. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the ability to understand. The next point, he says, she should not unnecessarily doubt or suspect her husband of having an affair. The author has got straight to the point. He says she should not unnecessarily doubt or suspect her husband of having an affair. This type of suspicion, which is usually the result of self-created thoughts and ideas, rumors of jealous people who might even claim to be friends, or even anonymous callers, etc., will only result in destroying an otherwise happy marriage. Rather, she should display full support in difficult times. This will go a very long way in strengthening the marital bond. Subhanallah. That means at times of crisis, people are accusing him of this and that. You display full support. Even if there is something wrong that he is doing, inshallah, he will leave it because he's going to feel shy when he sees your support. Subhanallah. This is what the author is trying to say. And it will go a long way in strengthening the marital bond. The author continues to say, in the case where a wife has children from a previous marriage, it is a major sin to disallow the legitimate father of the child access to his children within reasonable limits. This must be worked out with the current husband and fulfilled according to the Sharia. Many people don't even want to know about this. Subhanallah. Similarly, if the husband has children from a previous marriage, it is a major sin to deny his ex-wife her rights, or to disagree that she sees his children and her children in the case where they are staying with their mother, etc. The ulama must be contacted for details regarding the explicit law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala regarding custody and access. Amazing. I actually spoke about that a few nights ago. The author continues to say, in order to maintain a healthy married life, it is important that the wife beautifies herself at all times for her husband within the limits of the Sharia. She should try to be neat and clean at all times, smart and prim, apply a good scent within the home. In fact, she must make use of the permitted makeup that is available, and she must understand that it is Islamically rewarding to beautify herself for her husband. If she is not going to take care of this, or if she wears tatty clothes that are creased, dirty, smelly, etc., and takes no pride in her appearance for her husband, then he may slowly lose interest in her. The Sharia has gone as far as terming it a sin to abstain from beautifying oneself for one's husband. Always looking good in the home will definitely increase the value of a woman in the eyes of her husband. He will consider her as a great gift and appreciate what Allah Almighty has bestowed upon him. This point obviously speaks for itself. And the last point that the author mentions, he says, she must communicate well with her husband and tell him when major issues take place. If she is sick, she should not expect him to sense or to understand that she is sick without being informed. At times, if he sees her looking sad or depressed, it is unfair not to explain why this is the case. Keeping a person guessing can be very harmful to the marriage. Sometimes she may be sad for other reasons, so she must mention these reasons. She must put forward the reason and clear the air. If the need arises, or if need be, she must give him the opportunity to help or to explain. Sometimes you might be upset with something he has done. You might have seen something. You can't just sulk forever and expect him to keep on guessing. You need to understand. Talk to him, explain to him, tell him, give him the chance to clear himself. And once he has done that, you need to, inshallah, accept that excuse of his or accept the explanation. And that is how the marriage will move forward. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the ability to understand what has been said. Inshallah, we will move further to the other relationships that a Muslim will have during his lifetime. And we will look at how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prescribed upon us various commands. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the ability to be the best of people. May He grant us the ability to be the most exemplary people. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa baraka ala nabiyyina Muhammad. Subhanallahi wa bihamdihi. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.